I'm Steve Fitz, owner of the Mr. Morgan parked over in slip H18. Those of you who have been around for a while remember my uncle, Steve Fitz. Between the two of us, we've had a long history of operating a hard-working boat out of Pillar Point Harbor. Now his son, Ted, my cousin, works for me, as well as does Kyle Pemberton, one of your own Harbor Master's sons. It's not my favorite thing to stand up before a crowd of people and speak, but I feel passionately enough against more assessments in the form of unloading fees that I cannot stand by and keep my mouth shut. My opposition is as much out of principle as it is about the added financial burden that will ultimately wind up in the hands of the fishermen. From what I understand, other ports up and down the coast refrain from charging these fees. I'm up here speaking on behalf of myself, but I guarantee that you would be hard-pressed to find another fisherman that would prefer to pay more in fees. If you don't commercially fish for a living, especially in this day and age, which you don't, and you have no comprehension of the physical, mental, and financial strains we endure, not to mention the huge risks we take. I'm the one who forces myself out of bed at 1 in the morning, leaving my wife and my 9-month-old daughter at home to venture out into a cold and windy spring day, knowing that I'm going to get my ass kicked given the 10x7 buoy report. I also know that when I make that decision to go offshore, things can and oftentimes do go terribly wrong. My point is, I'm the one working my tail off under these conditions and taking all the risks while you're at home in your comfy beds. And you think it's okay to heap more burden on us in the form of unloading fees? A penny here, a penny there. You don't think that's that big of a deal? Well, think again. I participate in the West Coast groundfish IFQ fishery, one of the most highly regulated of them all. Every time we fishermen turn around, a new regulation is imposed upon us, ultimately resulting in another set of fingers dipping into our bottom line. And I'm sick and tired of it. In this folder here is a spreadsheet that's 23 columns long to be exact. Most of these columns represent another hand dipping into the till. Do you realize that it's federally mandated that I install and maintain vessel monitoring equipment on my boat so the feds can watch every move I make? I also have to pay for this service. Do you realize I'm required to take a federal observer with me every trip I make? It's my responsibility to provide his food, give him a bunk, and pay for his wages, soon to be $500 a day. When I come in at night, I'm required to have a catch monitor stand by and weigh my fish with me as it comes off my boat. I also have to pay him, soon to be upwards of $50 an hour. Do you know that I have to pay 5% of my gross for a groundfish buyback program that happened 10 years ago? The feds are about to impose another 3% in cost recovery for the newly implemented IFQ regime. I already pay unloading fees. I pay assessments to 2 separate associations that I'm a member of. At least I get something out of that. I fail to see where your fees will directly benefit the fishermen. I pay a fortune to lease the quota that I'm allowed to go catch. Did you happen to notice that fuel is up over $4 a gallon for years? There's ice, food, astronomical insurance premiums, which many guys can't already afford. Fish and game taxes, just to name a few. This doesn't even scratch the surface when it comes to our endless array of expenses. The bottom line is that there is not much left to the bottom line after everyone else has taken their little piece of the pie. And now you just assume it's fine to take more. Well, it's not. Find another way to raise your revenues. I already pay my fair share in taxes. I pay $500 a month for my slip. I bought my usage permit, along with the 10 other licenses and permits required by the state and feds. If you go ahead and vote for this and make it retroactive to April, which is what the rumor says, that is just another $4,000 bill I will have to pay out of my hard-earned money. That, as far as I'm concerned, I might as well light a match too. I urge you to leave this issue alone. I want that money. I need that money to invest in my vessel and keep it a safe platform so that my chances of being successful and returning home to my family remain high. I want to be able to provide for them and have some reward for my sacrifices. Where would it end? A penny here and a penny there will be 2 cents next year and 4 the year after that. Like I said, I want the money. I earned it. You didn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, what, I thought we were going to allow the
My motion was only the next speaker, because that's all.
No, we voted to allow.
My motion was the next speaker and was for the 2 or 3 minutes.
President
We've had
Bernardo.
the next speaker and it's been 6, so.
President Bernardo called the speakers, and the speakers should be able to speak. They've already been called.
There were only 2 others, so.
There were 3, and you can't wait 3 more minutes after shutting us out?
We were an hour and 15 minutes late for crying out loud. I mean, what's
It's the least we can do. We made the public wait.
Okay,
We are here to serve the public. I'm sorry, but we called them, we need to let
let's
them
have,
speak.
let's have
I'll defer to
Mr.
the president, but I would suggest that because of the time, we should limit it to the 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes for Mr. Fitz and 2 minutes for Mr. Ullum, please.
I thought Mr. Olson
Mr. Olson
said-
got in again?
He's already had his time on this subject.
Oh, don't worry, I can tell him that. Jeez.
Steve Fitz, a longtime fisherman out of Pillar Point Harbor and a board member for the Half Moon Bay Seafood Marketing Association. Tonight, I'm delivering a letter for the public record on behalf of our association. It's regarding the Tiger Grant application, a subject that we discussed at length and in the end voted unanimously to take this position. By the way, this letter has been mailed by our membership to the Department of Transportation and the elected officials listed on the letter, and I have a copy for you all. To whom it may concern, the Half Moon Bay Seafood Marketing Association is a collective of commercial fishermen in Half Moon Bay, California. Our fully inclusive organization represents commercial fishing producers of all gear types, all local target species, and all sizes of fishing businesses working out of Pillar Point Harbor. We also represent, quote, one of California's top-performing commercial fishing fleets that generate an average of approximately $6.5 million at the dock each year, over $150 million since 1990. End quote. Mentioned on page 6 of the Tiger Grant application written by the San Mateo County Harbor District and dated 4/28/14. You may have noticed that the support letters included in the grant application from the Harbor District did not include support from the local commercial fishing industry. We were not aware of this application, nor were we asked to support proposed infrastructure changes to our port. Unfortunately, this is indicative of the lack of working relationship between the San Mateo County Harbor District and the backbone of the industry on which Pillar Point Harbor has been built. The Tiger Grant application states on page 7, quote, Pillar Point Harbor supports a steadily growing fishing culture and economy. As a contributor and supporter of this seaside community, the Harbor District's role in the cultivation and promotion of this vital economic drive is crucial. We are extremely disappointed to have to say this, but the actions of the San Mateo County Harbor District are not consistent with this statement. In January of 2014, at a district meeting, our organization presented a letter to the Harbor District, which specifically asked that the commercial fishing industry be considered a stakeholder in Pillar Point Harbor infrastructure decisions. This letter was publicly recognized by Harbor staff and commissioners, and assurances were made that industry would be welcome to participate in the public process. A copy of that letter, as well as a press release from April 2014, when that letter was ignored and infrastructure changes affecting the fleet were installed without input, are attached to this letter. Unfortunately, this is just one example of the lack of consideration for the commercial fishing fleet by the Harbor District. The commercial fishing industry is intricate and complicated, steeped in history, yet ever evolving to meet the socioeconomic challenges of a changing global economy and expanding regulatory compliance requirements. It is unfortunate that the well-documented dysfunction and continued disregard for the commercial fishing industry by the Harbor District has forced us into a position where another challenge we face is to protect the local fishing interests from within our own community. We have made numerous attempts to participate in the public process with the Harbor District to no avail. Therefore, due to the current climate within the Harbor District and because our lives depend on the changes made to our harbor, we cannot support the Tiger Grant application at this time. We are simply not comfortable with the public grant funds being provided for further changes to our port that the local commercial fishing industry will not have a voice in. We are hopeful that in the future things will change and that the San Mateo County Harbor District will productively engage with the commercial fishing industry that provides the main economic drive for the community of Half Moon Bay, Princeton, and El Granada vicinity. At that time, we would be happy to support grant funding for expansions in our port that could benefit our industry and community. Sincerely, Half Moon Bay Seafood Marketing Association.
Thank you.